Every year, cyclists make goals to be lighter, faster, stronger, or some combination of those three. For 2021, I was no different, and I wanted it to be my best season ever. So I decided to get myself a Whoop for Christmas last year. Needless to say, I did not realize what 2021 had in store for me. I experienced the most mental stress I've ever experienced in my entire life, and my training definitely suffered for it. However, I did decide to keep my Whoop on every day for the entire year. My first impression is that it did a really good job monitoring my overall stress. When I had the talk at work, I did see a drop in my overall Whoop score for the stress that I was experiencing, all the way down to around that 20 out of 100 range. I kept continuing my training as though nothing happened, but I realized quickly that my focus was not on training and I had switched over to trying to provide for my family. When I initially got the Whoop, I expected that it would tell me the stress of my day, how well I was going to perform the next day, and how recovered I was. And while my experiences aren't probably typical, as taking 4 months just to find out that you no longer have a job sucks, I would definitely say that I had the wrong expectations for Whoop. While Whoop does try to tell you your daily stress, I feel like it's a non-linear equation, and that's very hard for humans to understand. One of the main issues I had when it came to measuring my daily stress is the fact that while riding, I would experience drops in heart rate. When I did my hard efforts, I would watch it climb up until it hit about 170, and then all of a sudden I would see it tank to that about 130 range. And then it would jump back and forth between, I would say, what my actual heart rate was and that roughly 130 range. I did not see this issue when it came to running, lifting, or working on the ranch. Now, I don't know if this is just something that I experienced or if this is commonplace for cyclists. I do know I have fairly large forearms from my days of climbing, and when I'm very lean, I have very protruding veins on my forearms. As far as overall performance on how I would perform on the day, I did not feel like I had consistency with this. While I had my second best race ever on the Mater Dei, I had a Whoop score of about 25, which puts me well into the red. On the flip side, I would have days where I was in that 70-75, well into the green, and I would go do intervals and I would feel completely flat. But it did seem to pick up my stress levels fairly well. It would react when I had a hard day at work or when I would be getting sick, and when I got the second dose of the vaccine, I had a Whoop score of 1 and I felt like garbage. And then by the time the next day came around, I was back up into the yellow and I felt much better. In the end, I don't know where I stand when it comes to Whoop. If I was to use it again in the future, I would use it mainly to measure how my body was handling the load I was putting on it, and I would not rely on it to determine the stress I put myself under that day. And I know recently they did release the Whoop 4.0 strap, which I was not using. I was using the 3.0 strap, so maybe all of these issues that I experienced would be resolved with this new one. And also, maybe I would have had completely different results if I didn't lose my job this past year. I know a lot of people love this product. However, at this point in time, I think the money would be well spent on other things than a training aid, at least until I have more stable income. If you are interested in Whoop and you'd like to see how it would help you perform, I definitely think it's well worth using it for at least a month, if not a couple months, to try out and see if it works for you. And if you do decide to order Whoop for a month or two, go check out some of the other content creators like Ted King, as they usually have some kind of code discount that you can use. And with that, go get a ride in, burn off some life stress, and we'll see you in the next video.